Welcome to the Why Not Us podcast.
Welcome back, boys. Why Not Us? We are on episode 12 this week. Crazy, we're 12 episodes into this already. Week 11, college football.
I'll tell you what, I'm freaking stoked for this week. Holy crap, this episode's going to be fire.
Yeah, I'm excited. So we are 12 episodes in. You know, we've had a pretty consistent viewership on YouTube of 150 to 200 views every week, which is awesome. So I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's watching, wherever you are. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. And, you know, we just kind of been doing this off the dome and kind of doing whatever with our podcast. But so for anybody that's new or anybody that's here and still doesn't know what we're doing, podcast is Why Not Us? The why being the why from Brigham Young University. And basically just a bunch of fans giving our perspective on BYU football, BYU basketball, little college football mixed in there a little bit as well, and some stuff to interact with you guys on Instagram and on social media. So, yeah, basically we sit here and talk about why BYU shouldn't be the one to win the Big 12, win the national championship. And on that note, we're going to head right into BYU, Texas Tech, College Gameday, coming up this Saturday. It'll be number 8 BYU versus number 9 Texas Tech. First top 10 matchup game for BYU in history of the university.
Which is crazy. Crazy. When I read that, I thought, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, when the polls came out, like it hit me like a brick. Like we've been looking forward to this Texas Tech game. We've been a little concerned about it watching Tech throughout the entire year. We're like, oh, that's going to be a tough game. But like, this is arguably one of the biggest games in BYU history. And a lot on the line. Big 12 had some crazy things happen this past weekend. BYU's got their own destiny in their hands, and makes me nervous as hell, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. My wife commented today, it's, you know, everybody's so peaceful and calm. I can tell your blood sugar's down. It must be a bye week.
Yeah.
And, you know, now that the bye week is over and I see where the rankings are and I see College Gameday, my heart rate's already up and I'm nervous. So I'm going to need some help talking me off the cliff here.
Yeah,
but
it's we're all nervous with you.
But yeah, so BYU's coming off the bye week. By all accounts, BYU won that bye week in terms of the people in front of them in the rankings. So we had Georgia Tech go down, we had Miami go down, and we had Vanderbilt go down. 7, 8, and 9, or 8, 9, and 10, I should say, go down. So BYU moving up to 10 was huge on a bye week, or moving up to 8, from 10 on the bye week was awesome. And yeah, so we're headed into Texas Tech. So let's just start with that. I'll start with you, Dad, and we'll go to Jace. We're coming off a bye, headed to Tech. They just won pretty convincingly at Kansas State. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, you know, it's one of those that after they pounded Kansas State, but Kansas State, I think, had 5 turnovers in that game.
Correct.
So, you know, and Kansas State was one of those that I was kind of high on before this last week. And then I watched them play. I watched that game, obviously, because we're playing Texas Tech. And I was like, okay, I remember why Kansas State is 4-4 now. They just, you know, I like their quarterback, but man, he just does not play well in the big games. Seems to kind of fold under the pressure. Defense played good for a while, but when you turn the ball over 5 times, you're playing a team like Texas Tech. I don't care who you're playing. 5 turnovers, you're not going to win the game. You know, Texas Tech is good. The interesting thing to me will be who we have when it comes to guys back off of injuries, what that looks like coming up. But no, it's exciting. I mean, 8-9 at Texas Tech. We hold our destiny in our hands here. I mean, it's one of those that we got 4 games left, and if we can just win, baby, then we can be in the Big 12 title game. I mean, we have a little room for a loss, but I don't even want to go down that road because all the scenarios with all this other tiebreak stuff gets into the mud and the mire, and I don't want to go that route.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to reminisce a little bit in the situation that we're in. Like 2 years ago, we were happy to have a bowl game, and now we're looking at a top 10 matchup in BYU football. It's just not something that we have experienced in our lifetime. And on like to Houston's point, it's just not been experienced ever in the university's history. So it's really cool to think how far we've come and everything that's in the future that we got going for us, the development, the players, like committing people that we're going to get back, Bear Bachmeier. Like it's so cool. Like I can't help but just feel a sense of gratitude. I don't know how else to put it. Just we're super excited for where we're at, but also with that, as a fan, the expectations have changed. Like we're a top 10 team in the country. Now it's time to go show the world that you deserve it. And so my thought going into this game, if I'm being honest, is I want it close. If it's a loss, it's a loss. It's a top 10 team. You can't expect to win all of them. But if we get blown out, I will be devastated. I don't think we do. I think we're going to give them a game. And I honestly think we're a better team. But, man, we're in such a good spot. It's such a cool time to be a BYU fan.
Yeah. I think, what's crazy is you see number 8, number 9, Texas Tech, BYU. Is that basketball? Is that football? Right. I mean, kudos to both programs and being so good in both sports. But, I'm a little nervous. I'm cautiously optimistic. Texas Tech has kind of been a little bit Jekyll and Hyde and sometimes. I mean, you look at their loss to Arizona State, and that just kind of came out of nowhere. They've also played against a team like Utah and absolutely destroyed them. Kansas State hung with them, if not for the 5 turnovers. So they're definitely not, invincible. I'll be interested to see, like you mentioned, Dad, the injuries. That'll be a big factor for BYU, especially on the defensive side. And then the quarterback situation is interesting to me with Will Hammond going down, and they've got their true starter back. I wonder how into it he is. This is only his second game back as a starter. Like, what does that look like in a big matchup like this? So, just a lot of questions. I'm super excited for the game. I am nervous as hell. I am nervous. My gosh. Like, my heart rate's already up.
Like you said, if you would have asked us 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, prior to the Arizona State game, we're basically everybody is saying Texas Tech is immortal. Like, one of the top teams in the country, guaranteed to win the Big 12. And still, they're in that driver's seat. They still are an incredible team and deserve to be in the top 10. But that loss to Arizona State, to Houston's point, gave us all hope, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, showing that they are human. They do have some weak points. So I hope that we just studied the crap out of that film so we know what to go after, because they are incredibly talented. Like, they're just a good team all around.
Yeah, and going back to the quarterback situation, they didn't do a whole lot of quarterback run, although it was part of their game. But where your backup is gone, and if your starter gets hurt now, if Morton gets hurt, so in my mind, I'm like going, you limit your quarterback runs if I'm Texas Tech, which is good for us because that takes something off the table. I don't think I'm going to run him a lot if my other quarterback's out for the season. I got to go to my third string. I think I'm pretty cautious there. The thing that gives me a lot of confidence, because I'm with you guys, I sit there and think about it and go, oh my gosh, this is because it's not do or die. It's just like, here's our opportunity. We've got the prime TV. We got the national audience. We're ranked in the top 10. Let's show everybody what BYU is. And that makes you a little nervous. But so you got Jay Hill that's had 2 weeks to scheme and prepare for Texas Tech's offense. That makes me smile. 2 weeks for Jay Hill to prepare for Texas Tech. I mean, you just think about that. Think about what he did to Colorado last year in the bowl game when he had 3 or 4 weeks. 2 weeks is 2 weeks is a lot of time to prepare. So, I think he'll have a great scheme. If we come out and execute it, I think that's going to be key to the game. And then, as we started, Jace, Bear Bachmeier. Everybody can't. What I love, because we're BYU, blue goggle, and we're always going to be that way, But I love the national media, Pat McAfee. BYU is the best team in the Big 12. Somebody says
Nick Saban.
Somebody on the game day set said something about Cincinnati, the guy who does the pick ems over there, that Cincinnati's going to win the Big 12, and Nick Saban says they're not going to beat BYU. Mm-hmm. So what that does for me is instill a little more confidence in me as a fan that you're seeing it. These are people that watch college football, all of college football. They're very knowledgeable, and for them to make those kind of statements, like, okay, BYU is a good team. We're going to go in there. We're going to compete, and it's going to be a great, great game.
Yeah, and I definitely think, yeah, there's no part of me this last 2 seasons where I felt like we've been out-talented or outmatched or out-coached in any way. We have effectively risen to the occasion when it comes to the Big 12 and Power 4 football. The thing that I think will be the biggest key going into this game is we cannot go down early, especially at home in Lubbock. Like, I'm glad that we have the resilience to come back, and I want to have that in our back pocket when we need it the most. But of all the games out of the season, this is the one where you want to come out, and if you get the ball first, you want to score a touchdown. If you're on defense first, you want a 3-and-out or as quick as you can get the ball back and a score. Like, we need to come right out of the gate and as however we do it, be the first ones on the board. I think that would go a huge way into just settling everybody into the game, especially if LJ is back and he's healthy. That's just going to, lead into the game plan. Run the ball, to control the clock, and limit their possessions. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The matchup I'm looking forward to the most, honestly, is how our wide receivers and their defensive backs match up. Their defensive backs are insanely good. It'll be interesting to see if Chase and Parker can get open. It'll be cool to have JoJo back. We'll see how effective he's going to be. But yeah, I mean, even if we get LJ back, he's not going to be 100%. And so, we're going to probably need to rely on Bear's arm. I will say that we're probably going to see a lot of Bears running ability as well. That's basically how Kansas State moved the ball against Texas Tech, was just quarterback scrambles and runs and all that stuff. So I anticipate seeing Bear run a lot, but I do believe the matchup is going to be our wide receivers versus their defensive backs.
Yeah, and I'll say on the flip side, I think the other matchup the other way around is the same thing. You and I kind of talked earlier in the week, I think, Jace, about Texas Tech's scheme as far as running a lot of out to the flat, quick throws, quick screens. They're trying to, get a guy to miss. So I think that our tackling between our DBs and our outside linebackers, namely Satuala, hopefully Demooney's back, Prasis, those guys are going to be huge in stopping the quick game out to the edges, which I actually think we do a really good job defending.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting matchup as well.
Yeah.
But
wild.
Yeah.
It's exciting though. I mean, we have no reason not to lose it. Like, why not us, right? Like, go and win this game. We have every reason to. We've prepared. We're a good enough team. And I want to see BYU in Texas so freaking bad when we go to Arlington. So,
yes. Well, the other thing, it's huge, and like my dad mentioned already, if we win this game, that's kind of the statement to the world that, like, hey, we belong, we've arrived, we can win a top 10 matchup at College Gameday. In the grand scheme of things, looking at the last 4 games, we can probably split Texas Tech Cincinnati one way or the other and still be in the Big 12 championship. Just the way things are shaking out, one loss will get us in. That'll either be a rematch against Texas Tech if we lose to Texas and win the others. If we beat Texas and then beat Cincinnati, who knows after that? I mean,
it's probably going to be a freaking Holy War rematch, bro. And good gosh, that would give me a freaking heart attack.
Which I'm curious. I don't know. We mentioned, but Dad, I mean, I don't know how you feel about another BYU Utah game. I already made my voice clear that I think Utah destroys us if we play again.
I don't like it, but I don't think they destroy us. I mean, it's we already beat them once. It's the challenge is when you play a team twice to beat them the second time. I mean, anytime you go a second time around, that's always a challenge. I know you go back to Whittingham going for it on 4th, and that's his MO. He's going to do it. We stopped him. It wasn't matter who they were playing. He was going to go for it on 4th and whatever it was, and we stopped him. And we had a couple that we went on 4th and didn't get him either. So I mean, it balanced out. I don't know that I fear that game. I don't know that I like a rematch just because of the.
It's just bitter.
Yeah,
it is.
And we know each other so well. I'm not a big fan of that. So just for that reason right there.
I will say this though, Houston, and this is where I'm on the other side of the things. I think we beat them, and I think we beat them handily, and I'll tell you why. In the games that Utah has won, they've averaged 40 plus points in every single one of those games outside of the two that they've lost, which is us in Texas, Texas Tech. There's got to be some credit given to us. Even if they do hit the 3 field goals that they should have hit, they're still well below their average. We held them. And to Gordon's point, we did some stupid stuff too on going for it and scoring less points. I think that everybody's, again, hyped up on Utah after they've destroyed Colorado and then they destroyed Cincinnati, which credit to them. They're a good team. We are just better. And I think that we are better coached. We have more talent. And I think we destroy them if there's a rematch there.
It's just so hard to see what's going on. I mean, you go to the West Virginia game, which awesome. That was a great win by West Virginia against Houston. Mm-hmm. But, to your point, let's go back to the Utah game. Their blowout of Colorado doesn't look all that stellar now that Arizona went to Colorado and just kicked the dog out of them.
Yep.
So Colorado's in the toilet. And so that win, you're like going, yeah, well, look what Arizona just did to that same team. So now going back to the Cincinnati game, and I think we talked about this maybe on our last podcast. I can't remember. If not, we have talked about it off. But Cincinnati up to this point had not played a really strong schedule. Their best win was Iowa State at Cincinnati. And you look where Iowa State is now. I still think Iowa State's a good team and a quality program, but they're not a top 25 team. So, that was their marquee win. So they go to Utah. They can't handle the game pressure there. That was so. With all that being said, that kind of exposed, I think, Cincinnati a little bit, that they hadn't really been tested.
Yeah, I think I made that comment. I said that Cincinnati is going to be irrelevant in this run late in the season because of their schedule. They have Utah, they have us. I think they have TCU as well,
and Baylor, I think, don't they?
Yeah, and Baylor, something like that. So like nothing like to goo and gaga over outside of us and Utah. But Cincinnati was, in my mind, kind of on fraud alert. There was a little hint of me that was worried about Houston because their schedule's a cakewalk going into the last part of the season. But then they lost to West Virginia, so that kind of evened it out. It's literally, in my opinion, between BYU, Tech, and Utah. That's the top 3. That's who's going to make it. One of those or 2 of those 3 teams is going to be in Arlington, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately for you fans, they got to root for BYU. If BYU wins out, that's the best case scenario for Utah to get into the championship game. Yep. Is that we win out. If we split either one with Cincinnati, Texas, and I'm assuming we beat TCU and UCF. So for the love of everything,
please
just
go
beat
UCF
and TCU. I mean, every game is tough. I don't want to overlook anybody, but anyway. So yeah, just a lot that can happen going down the stretch. That's my other thing is just freaking win the games. Get to the championship game, please. I don't want to be in another spot where we're 8-0, we're in the top 10. We're in the exact same spot we were going into Kansas last year. Same spot.
Well, 9-0 last year instead of 8-0, but exact same thing. Well, I mean, the scenario is almost identical to where it was last year. To your point, you're exactly right.
Yep. So
went out and you're in.
Yep,
to our credit, though, I will say this: the scenario last year, and I don't know how much this plays into effect. I think it is a thing, but there was a hangover after the Utah game. We proved that wrong, which is what gives me hope. Is we stuck through the hangover. We dominated a really good Iowa State team. Then we got the bye week to get healthy. To Gordon's point, Jay Hill's going to go ham, and we're going to be ready for Texas Tech. We are going to win this game. I'm just saying it for all of us right now. We are going to win this game.
Well, and the crazy thing is to me is, and we've talked about the spread and the line on the games all year long, how crazy they've been. So we open up as a 10.5-point underdog. We're 8-0. We're ranked 8th in the country, and we're a 10.5-point underdog going into Lubbock. I just don't understand that thought process with the odds makers. What makes us a 10.5-point underdog? It just, it is what it is, but whatever. I mean,
how many points do you get for it being a home game?
Typically 7, they say, but
so roughly in theory, they're 3 to 4, maybe 5-point, favorites if you take away the home field advantage. Because I saw that too. I saw that too, G, and I'm like,
so here's a great example. Look at LSU's playing. It's a top team this week. Is it Georgia?
I don't know. I don't know.
And that game, Georgia is only a 6-point favorite. With LSU coming, and I'm like going, come on, LSU's in the toilet right now. You're telling me that line is only a 6-point favorite?
Hey, they're betting on improvement after a coaching fire.
Yeah. I mean, teams have played well after firing their coaches. So.
Anyway, just it's interesting. Another thought on this that I had, though, you think about it, not most, but and we had to do it back in the Bronco era days because we didn't play anybody. Meaning we'd play one or two good teams at the first of the year. And we had a marquee matchup. But there's still that in me that this is our marquee matchup, and BYU seems to come out and have a marquee win in a season, and I think this is it. I think we come out and we show what we're made of, and this is our marquee win.
And, you bring that up, and the thing is, I got so much trauma. I got to clear through the cobwebs of everything. But when you bring that up, you look at wins on the road at Wisconsin, a top 10 team.
Yep.
A win against USC, a win against Tennessee on the road. I'm just going down the list of ranked teams. The Oklahoma game, a while back, number 3, and it's in Dallas and all that stuff. And I mean, we have risen to the occasion, and it's been a complaint of ours for a long time. We've played down to our competition and we played up, and so in the games that we should win, we've faltered and struggled. And to your point, the games that have been huge on the national stage, we have actually stepped up and played well over the years. So that is something to consider. I'm going to have a really hard time this week, fellas. So please be patient. Be patient when I call you in the depths of my, season's over. There it goes. We're not even getting to the Big 12 championship. And the reason why is because I'm trying to protect my poor heart. I want us to win the national championship. And there's the part that's the problem here is I have some hope that can happen, and that's what makes it so difficult. Is it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
To give an ode to JP there and the Angels in the outfield. It could happen.
It could happen. Well, and even last year's run, I think this year's team, the way we're winning, is more sustainable than last year. The Oklahoma State game, which was awesome, fantastic to win in the last seconds. But my goodness, we should not be beating Oklahoma State on the last second because they hadn't even won a conference game all freaking year. Then there's a couple games like that. We've had to come back, but the team is just resilient. I just feel more confident because of that. Will there be some adversity in this game? Sure. But I just think they're resilient. They'll stick to it, and they're going to play a good game.
Yeah, what gives me confidence, Houston, is like if you look at the Utah game, right? Every time they scored, we had a counter, and I think instantly it was either I think it was right before half where they scored, and then we went and scored immediately. Could have been right after half, I forget, but like. Normally in our BYU fandom, Utah would have gone and scored that game and gone into halftime with a lot of momentum. We come out sloppy, trying to play back or whatever. We went and countered immediately against Iowa State. First play of the game, they come out and score on the first play of the game. We got sucker punched in the mouth, and we countered, and we had an answer for every hit that they had. And then over the time of the game, the better team showed out. Right. And then you look, like Colorado and Arizona, those were tight games. Tough to dissect those, but I think over the course of the season, the team has gotten drastically better. We've been able to match every blow that's come at us, and over the course of time, talent is going to eventually win. And I do think that we are a top 10 talented team. We've got so much talent on this football team on both sides of the ball, and they're going to make plays. They're going to make RG3 primetime players make primetime plays in primetime games, and we're going to see it this weekend.
Well, and to your point, to add on to that, we haven't had this talent level ever at BYU.
Ever, yeah.
So, in the past, and with the proofs in the pudding, we've had some key injuries, and we're 8-0. The other thing that I'm still waiting for, and I'm I'm hoping, or I should be more than hoping. I think this week is the week we play a complete game. We still have not played four complete quarters yet,
Yeah.
and we're 8-0. This is the week to go out and play 4 complete quarters against a good. I mean, Texas Tech is a good team, but you go out and play 4 quarters, I think we win.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
So
The
excited.
one-
Holy crap.
I know. I'm excited. The one note I will say, just real quick before we move on here, kudos to the coaching staff, because BYU, in terms of recruit ranking to where they're at in like some of the different metrics, we're playing up 65 spots. So we were I can't remember, something like number 70 effectively in recruits, like of the team, not like a recruiting class, but
Right.
overall. And then we're playing up to a power ranking of number 5 somewhere in that category. So kudos to the coaching staff, and it just makes you wonder what we can do when that recruiting number is a lot higher. So
Yeah, when next year's comes in at number 25, which it is, your 2026 class is the number 25th best recruiting class in the country.
yeah, so
So
kudos to the coaching staff there and what they've done to develop players. So it's been awesome. But, so I think what we'll do, let's head over into Pick Ems. Let's do that, and then stay tuned. We do have some BYU basketball that we'll be hitting up a little bit later in here. So with that, though, we'll head to Pick Ems first. Okay, Jace, we'll send it over to you. Give us an update, and then Dad, you for the matchups.
Yeah. Again, we kind of talked about it. Wild week of college football, especially in the Big 12. So some unexpected wins for some teams. And so the first one that we all had, Iowa State versus Arizona State. We both kind of threw it out there that we didn't know if Sam Leavitt was going to be a determining factor in this, and surprisingly, he wasn't. And they still won. And so Iowa State loses to Arizona State, so none of us got that. We all chose Baylor. That was a easy win for Baylor. We all chose Utah, so that was an easy win for Utah as well. Houston got a point above us on the Tennessee-Oklahoma game. Oklahoma ended up winning that one. I got my butt kicked on my underdog with Texas versus Vanderbilt. Texas handled business. Vanderbilt was they came back. They were resilient.
They did.
Texas went up big early. Vanderbilt came back and fought, so kudos to them, but definitely did not win. Gordon with a big pick. He should have had SMU.
Pick them to win.
Yeah, he should have had SMU picked to win. He just had him picked to cover, but he did get 1 point on that win. That was a phenomenal game. And then Houston got his point as well. North Texas handled Navy pretty handily. So the totals after that, Houston is sitting at 32 points, and then me and Gordon are tied at 30 points.
Nice.
So Houston's got a 2-point lead, but it is close. It is close.
I've been on a tear for about
Yes,
3 or
you
4
have.
weeks now.
Yes, yeah, you've been doing good.
Well, and
And
I
thanks
watched.
to the
Go ahead.
Go ahead, G.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I should have listened, or I have never watched Tennessee. Tennessee is not as good as I thought. Watching that Oklahoma game, so that was a good pick, Houston. That was.
thanks. I had happened to watch Oklahoma play Ole Miss the week before, which gave me a lot of hope that they were going to take care of business. They look good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Dad, let's head it to you for the matchups.
All right. So this week there was a lot of buys in the Big 12. So the matchups are what they are, but they're all important. Still coming down to the end here. So we have our first one. We got this week. We have Houston at UCF. This one to me is an interesting one. Houston coming off that loss. I mean, Houston was flying high. I know UCF has struggled and they just got their high knee kicked by Baylor, but I'm going to go with an upset here. I'm going to pick UCF. I don't know that Houston, after their home defeat, how they rebound on the road down at the bounce house. So I know that's going out there, but I'm going UCF.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. It's tough to tell. Houston, like we mentioned already, is one of those that really hasn't played that great of a schedule. So what do they look like? UCF is not really playing for much. I think Houston just got a better team, and I think they'll win out over the long game. But
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Houston hasn't played anybody, but UCF is just that bad, and so I think Houston's going to win.
Yeah, could be. I mean, UCF could be an upset there, but we'll see.
Mhm.
We'll see.
We'll see. Um, Iowa State at TCU. This is another interesting one. I still think Iowa State's good, and I'm not sure where TCU is at. I think as the season goes on, those are two mid-tier Big 12 teams. They're not
Mhm.
they're not the bottom. They're not the top. They could pull an upset against somebody down the end here, and I think they will. I think a couple of these two teams will play a factor in who wins the conference championship. But so with all that being said, I'm going to go with TCU at the home field. Give them the advantage.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. I think Iowa State's got the better team. I think they'll get it together. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. They're not even bowl eligible yet, I don't think. So they still have something to play for here to get into the postseason. I think they're going to come in. I don't know. I just think they got to have a win. They're a good team. So I think this is the week they do it. But
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, and I mean, to be fully honest, I haven't watched much TCU this year, which is wild because I typically like to keep tabs on people that we have on the schedule, but I just don't know enough about TCU to give them any sort of credit. I'm going just based off of what I know, and I think Iowa State's a really solid program, and to Houston's point, they got something to play for still, so I think they come out with the win.
Yep. And I think TCU is right in that same area there. If they win a couple of games,
Yeah.
they become bowl eligible. So they've got that going for them too.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas at Arizona. This one, I still go back when we had to go to double overtime to beat Arizona. Everybody was saying, "Oh, we were lucky to do that." Arizona is a better team. It's just like what they did to Colorado. I still think they're a quality team. So Kansas, they have struggled. I'm going with Arizona here. I just their quarterback Fafita, he's going to take them down.
yeah, it's a good pick. Maybe this is just an ego pick here since I talked about how good Kansas was early on in the season and they have disappointed. There's no doubt about that. But I'm going to go Kansas here. I think Arizona, coming off of playing FCS Colorado Buffaloes, is going to have a little bit of a letdown. And Jayhawks are still playing for some postseason too. We're right in that point in the season where some of these teams that have 3 or 4 wins still can make a bowl game. So give me the Jayhawks.
Yeah, Kansas has been a flip-flop for me. Early on, I had them as well as Houston. I had them as kind of a under-the-table person to maybe contend for the Big 12 championship later on in the season. They showed sparks. I think was it Missouri that they played where they looked really good? I can't remember who was there. Yeah. It was an SEC team. I'm pretty sure it was Missouri.
Missouri, yeah.
They didn't look bad. I mean, Missouri's 19th in the country now. Kansas didn't look terrible. But with that said, I think Arizona is better. And so I'm going with Arizona.
Good pick.
So our top 10 matchup or top 25 matchup this week, there's only 2, by the way, games, ours and this one. Number 3, I think they're still number 3, Texas A&M and Missouri. I didn't look to see if they're still at 19.
I think they are.
Yeah. Somewhere in there. So Missouri has come close to a couple times this year. I think they're still a wannabe this year. Texas A&M is a quality team. At home, I got to go with Texas A&M on that one.
Yeah, it's going to be tough at home to beat A&M. I've been high on Missouri, and I've picked them a couple of times. I picked them in my underdog twice this year. I thought they would outright win in a couple of underdog games, but they just can't seem to get it done. And going to play against the 12th man and A&M is not going to be the place.
So it's at Texas A&M?
At Texas A&M, yep.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, my pick's not going to change either way. Texas A&M is the better team. I honestly anticipate a blowout here by 20+.
No, it might be at Missouri, but it doesn't change my pick. Texas A&M is the better team. So
yeah,
there's no doubt. All right, so underdog teams here. After some hard searching, Nevada at Utah State. Nevada's 1-7. Utah State's 4-4. They got Utah State as 11.5-point favorite. I'm saying Utah State more than covers that and wins. I'm not just saying they cover. They cover. Obviously, they're gonna. It'll be more than 12. They will win that game by more than 12.
No, I like it. We kind of mentioned beforehand Nevada's only win is at Sac State by 3. So that's tough. Nevada's not good. So yeah, my pick this week, I'm gonna go with Indiana and Penn State. That's gonna be my game. And Indiana is favored by 13.5, and I think they cover that. It is at Penn State. But Penn State is just not good. I mean, James Franklin or not, they're just not good. I think Indiana's still underrated. I think they could be the number 1 team in the country.
They're freaking good.
They are really good. And old Kurt Signetti over there is not afraid to run the score up, a la Kyle Whittingham. And he wants that quarterback of his to be in the Heisman race. They're up 40-0, and they're running a quarterback draw for 79 yards. They are assassins. They smell blood in the water in the Big Ten, and this is the year to capitalize. So I think Indiana wins by 20. So I'm going to take
that's a good pick.
Yep, I agree with that one.
So mine is the Colorado versus West Virginia. West Virginia's 5-point favorites on this. Colorado's struggling this year. There's no question. I do think they have a lot of talent on that team. I mean, nothing's been said, via media, so don't quote me on this. But with the 2 losses that they've had, you can venture to say that there's probably a little pressure under Deion's butt to get a win or to maintain his job. So I think that they're going to come out swinging. I think West Virginia, even though they had a decent win against Houston, not good this year. They've had their struggles. And so I think Colorado wins that game.
Yeah, it's an interesting pick. It could go really good for you, and it could go really bad.
Yep.
I actually watched that Houston West Virginia game, and West Virginia looked pretty darn good. Better than they've had all year.
Is that game in Colorado? I don't know that it matters, frankly. But
that game is I don't know. I don't remember where that is. I think I might be at West Virginia.
Might be. Well, just so that
played at home.
Yeah, and just so the record is straight, A&M is actually on the road at Missouri. So I know that doesn't change anybody's pick here, but
it's at West Virginia.
Okay, interesting. It'd be a big win for the Buff if they can get it done.
Yes, they need it. And I'm a Deion fan. Like, I'm biased to him. I freaking love him. I think he's a great coach. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's while we're on the topic, I think we're going to introduce something a little bit new here, still related to college football, I think this week, but it could encompass quite a bit in the future. But we're just going to start a segment, buy or sell, which is not new to us. I mean, brilliantly dumb show. Pardon my take. Some other shows out there do the same thing, but just kind of a weekly thing for us to choose something in sports. We're going to probably keep it to college football, college basketball. Could include some other sports potentially, but we're going to pick something that we liked and buy it and explain why, or sell it if we didn't like it. And then we'll try to incorporate that as we go on through the season. But I know Jace has been chomping at the bit for 2 weeks to get at his. So we'll start with you, Jace. Buy or sell this week?
Yeah, it's definitely a buy. And Houston mentioned this on a couple episodes past, and I want to put the hand up and publicly apologize and show my endorsement, because I know that that's what every coach is trying to do, is get my personal endorsement. So Aaron Roderick. I'm buying Aaron Roderick. I have been a huge critic of him. I've called for his job. I've yelled at the TV demanding that he gets fired because of his play calling, and I can't credit him enough this year for everything regarding the offense. When it comes to play calling, when it comes to developing Bear, Bear would not be Bear without Aaron Roderick and how he's handled that situation. Even just the change-ups that he's made as Bears progressed, the scheme has changed throughout the year. It's not always these dump, horizontal screen plays. Like, we'll still throw a couple in there, but it's not nearly as much as what we were doing. And so you got to give credit where credit's due. Our offense looks incredible this year. They've definitely been the biggest surprise, in my opinion. Like, we were all on the defensive train going into this year and still are, but the offense on the flip side has complemented the defense perfectly. And I've got to give all the credit to Aaron Roderick. He's a stud, and he can be our OC as long as he wants.
I agree with that. And I think just the quick comment I have on that is I think that Aaron finally has a quarterback who can meet him on the level of analysis that he wants out of a quarterback. Jaron Hall, Zach Wilson, great quarterbacks, great talent, great athletes. Bear's pretty special when it comes to knowing ball and having that knack, that football IQ. And I think Aaron having a quarterback like that has really made both of them shine. So
I'd agree with that.
And their relationship's pretty special, you can tell. Anytime Aaron Roderick gets asked about Bear Bachmeier, this grin hits his face, and he just loves talking about him. He is all in on Bear. You can tell Bear loves him when he's asked. Like, it's a pretty special thing going on over there in the quarterback room for sure.
Yep.
So that's my buy. Go A-Rod.
I like it. It's good. I like it. Well, let's head over to you, Dad. Buy or sell?
All right, buy or sell. So I'm going with a buy. After this last week of college football, I am buying that the Big 12 will have 2 teams in the college football playoff.
Let's go.
At least 2 teams. With the ACC's demise, with the games that were lost this week, Georgia Tech and Miami. I know you got Louisville in there, but the Big 12, I mean, we have Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, and Cincinnati still in the top 25. I would put those teams up against most in the country. And anyway, so I'm buying that. This disrespect of one Big 12, you got to win the championship to get in there. It ends this year. I'm buying that the Big 12 gets at least 2 teams in the playoff this year with the way it's going.
Yeah, that's solid.
I like it. No, that's the way it's aiming. I think the Big 12, I still take Oklahoma State out of it. I still think the Big 12 from top to bottom is the most competitive in terms of the spread of competition. Outside of Oklahoma State and maybe UCF this year, all other teams on any given week could beat anybody, maybe outside of the top 2 or 3 teams, but I don't think you can say that for most other conferences.
No.
You've got 2 or 3 teams that dominate everyone, and everyone else is garbage.
Yeah,
they just don't compete at all.
Big Ten is a prime example. You look at what Indiana did to Maryland this last week. I mean, it's just, but that's not the only one. You got Rutgers that gets manhandled all the time. You just go on down the list. Northwestern, you've got, like you said, you got 2 or 3 teams at the top. But I agree. Anyway, so that's a huge buy for me. I think this is the year that the Big 12 is going to get multiple teams in the playoff.
I like that one.
I'm going back and forth. I know this is kind of like a buy and sell, so I'll just say that for what it is. But I'm selling Notre Dame. That's not a shock. I feel like I've sold them since I was born, but I'm just selling Notre Dame right now. Especially, I love Marcus Freeman. He's a great coach, and Notre Dame's got a solid football team. But the fact that they have 2 losses and they are ranked where they are with the other teams that are around them, I can't stand the Notre Dame bias. And the other part of my sell is the fact that they don't have to play in a conference, and they get to schedule all the academies, and they schedule some whoever else. So they have 4 games right out the gate that they're going to win every year. And then, the few ACC opponents they dabble in there, like Duke and whoever else. I mean, they just don't play a tough schedule. Now, they played some good teams early on in the year, Texas A&M being one of them, which they did play really well to, but it's back to the whole quality loss thing. Like, they still lost the game. And I don't think they're a bad team, but you've got a team in Virginia who's 7-1, and all of a sudden the front runner to win the ACC after everything shook out last week. I mean, the ACC, you got SMU's got 1 loss. You've got Virginia with 1 loss. You've got, go down the list, Georgia Tech of teams, Louisville for the ACC. I think if Notre Dame has to play in the ACC year in and year out, and they have to deal with what comes with that being in a conference and not having the Notre Dame bias, I don't think they sniff the postseason very often.
I agree.
So anyway, I'm selling the Notre Dame bias. The tiny buy in there is watch out for Virginia. So,
Well,
anyway,
Notre Dame's schedule, what they've got left is pathetic, and so they're going to go probably and they'll win out. I think they got USC. That might be, but man, to your point, I mean they're already in the college football playoff talk, and they don't have anybody left. I'm like, you can't just the Notre Dame bias is so freaking real. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I believe there is a bias there. The devil's advocate to that, though, is they were in the Natty last year. They competed with the number one team in the country, and it was a good game. Like, it wasn't a blowout by any stretch. And so, like, take that into account. Plus, yes, I hate the quality loss talk, but at the same time, it does have to be factored in. Like, you can't be taken out of the top 15, top 20 unless you're BYU, because if we lose to Tech, we're gonna be 25th in the country. Just watch it happen. But we're not going to lose to Tech. But that's where the bias comes in, right? Like, if BYU was in Notre Dame's shoes and they were two loss to both top 10 teams, we're not in the top 15. So there is definitely a Notre Dame bias. The like I said, the devil's advocate to that is that you got to take into account that they were in the Natty last year. They did really well.
They were. My one caveat there, though, is they had the Boise State formula. I mean, they played Penn State in the playoff. They got all the way they get the free ticket to the postseason. It's pretty easy to get the free ticket to the postseason and then just have one of your biggest games be at the end of the year or whatever it is, rather than week in and week out dealing with, a loss might get you out of the postseason. So,
So, just while we were talking about that here's the remaining schedule for Notre Dame. They play Navy this week, which, Navy's okay, but I just don't, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, and Stanford.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, they'll win out.
What a rough schedule that is. I mean, and the odds are they're going to end up with the two losses. So
what'll be interesting is, let's assume they win out, right? And let's assume BYU wins out. Do they keep Notre Dame ahead of BYU?
I mean, it'll be interesting.
That would be wild, bro.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing will be when not tomorrow, but Tuesday, when the first college football playoff ranking comes out, to see how much love they get. And and to your point, Jace, they were in the national championship last year, but then my counter to that is that was last year. This is a different team. Mm-hmm. But that bias is there for Alabama. It's there for, it's Alabama. Well, I don't care. Let's look at this year's team. Let's not look at the last 30 years of Alabama.
Yeah, for sure.
It's true. All right. Well, the last thing I mentioned earlier that we are going to talk about is we got BYU basketball coming up tomorrow, playing Villanova in Las Vegas to start the season and the tournament down there. They split their exhibition games, beat North Carolina, and lost to Nebraska by 1. It was a really close game. But yeah, just get your fellas' thoughts. Here we come, basketball season, which we will be highlighting and talking about every week as well. The debut of AJ DeBonsa, number 1 recruit in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on last week's pod, and I'm gonna hype it up until I'm proven wrong. BYU is going to win the national championship this year. Couple things real quick, just in the 2 exhibition games. I didn't watch any Villanova exhibition games, but in particular for us, the Nebraska one lost 90-89. Didn't have our starters in the last moment, so I mean, for all intents and purposes, we should have won that game, could have won that game. But the stats in this one are interesting. So AJ had 30 points. He was 2 of 4 from 3-point range, had 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and a block. The guy went bananas on a Big Ten team, and is, he's going to ball out against anybody. I think he had 18 points against North Carolina. And North Carolina played with a little more chip on their shoulders. They just looked really good. But the highlight of what gets me so confident about this BYU basketball team is they don't need AJ to do that day in and day out. I compare it to Jimmer era. Jimmer had to score 35 points a game in order to keep us in it. There was no way that we won without that. AJ does not need to do that. He had 18 points, which is average against North Carolina, and North Carolina is a top 25 team. They've got an incredible roster, and we still won. That's with Rob Wright not being 100%. Richie had an off game, hadn't hit a 3-pointer. when we're firing on all cylinders, we are going to dominate any team that we play.
The one thing it'll be interesting to see is, and I didn't realize that Rob Wright had been hurt, and so he hadn't been playing as much. So, I will kind of stave off my comments about the team ball, because if you haven't been out there playing together, you can't play team ball when you're not together. But that to me is the key. What I want to see tomorrow is I want to see us to play as a team. Go out there and share the ball and play BYU basketball. We have some stars. And the nice thing will be is if we get to crunch time and we need somebody to go one-on-one, we've got 2 or 3 guys that can break it down and go one-on-one. But I don't want to see that every time down the floor. So I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, I'm going to be patient with the team, though, because I think it's going to take us 7 or 8 games to kind of get in a rhythm with all the new guys.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of similar to what happened last year when you have a new coach in, new system, new everything. You're trying to get everybody kind of bought in. And I think that's kind of going to be how basketball goes, just with the turnover, where, of players. It's going to take a while to get everything in. But yeah, my key and my nervousness with AJ, I love seeing him in there, but you guys have already mentioned it. I just want to see the team play well. I want everybody to fill their roles the way they should, and I don't want anybody, just taken away from the team to make it about them. And I don't think they will. The other thing that I'll be interested to see when the team meshes a little bit better is how well they play defensively. Rob Wright is 6'1", I think, and after that, the next shortest guy in the lineup is 6'6". I mean, we've got a ginormous lineup with a lot of wingspan. We should cover well in space, and actually, I think defensively, towards the later end of the season, that will be where we shine even more, is how well we can play defense. So super excited. It's going to be a big season, a lot of big matchups early on. We're going to find out where the issues are early and what we got to do to get ready for an intense Big 12 schedule for basketball.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Watch Arizona play tomorrow as well. I can't remember who they play, but it's a top 15. I think it's Florida, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Arizona plays Florida tomorrow. That's going to be a big game. Gosh dang. The last thing I'll say about this, and this is my other hot take, I would argue that our 5 starters for basketball could all go to the NBA at the end of the year.
Yeah, they could.
Think about that. You've got a starting 5, and all of them could legitimately go to the NBA, with 3 of them round 1.
Yeah.
So, yep, my last thought here, this is the good karma for the week. BYU football is number 8. Men's basketball is number 8.
Yeah, that's right.
Lucky 8s.
Only
good karma for this week.
Only university in the country that has a top 10 team in basketball and football. Put some respect on the Cougs, baby.
Double 8. We're winning.
Let's go.
That's right. I love it, guys. Well, great podcast once again. Look forward to basketball this week and a huge matchup. So go Cougs, baby.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.